Warning: the stunts in this movie were performed by professionals, so for your safety and the protection of those around you, do not attempt any of the stunts you're about to see.
Psych!
Alright, hello crafting community and welcome to the Scraphouse.
He was coming the whole time.
I'm still coming, and I'm coming all night long.
I'm coming for take this belt.
No, why this keeps happening?
Bro, it's because you're spewing nonsense!
No!
Hello, scrappers and planet lovers.
The cock! What do you mean?
Oh,
Ian
Greetings and salutations on a fucking fantastic Friday.
you mean to tell me
Picking you out.
that JDM...
Big thing in the news right now is the Rajah Jackson situation. Viral video shows Rajah Jackson, the son of the ex-UFC champion Quentin Rampage Jackson, attacking pro wrestler Stuart Smith, aka Psycho Stu. The incident happened at Knox X Pro Wrestling Academy in Los Angeles during a live event where Rajah body slammed Smith and delivered 20-plus unanswered punches while Smith appeared to be unconscious. Other wrestlers intervened and separated Rajah, who then fled the scene, and LAPD is investigating the incident per TMZ. I mean, when you guys saw the news to this, what were your guys' thoughts?
Man, I mean, when I saw it, I saw the clip of all the punches, so I immediately knew, like, okay, this is obviously not, the slam at first. The slam at first, I thought, maybe, but as soon as he started punching, I was like, whoa. And then I kind of saw the backstory of the whole thing, and I mean, criminal. It's criminal. He committed a crime. Like, at minimum, that's assault. Really, it's like attempted murder. I mean, he could have killed the guy. Like, let's look at it how it is. Like, he could have killed the guy. I'm glad to say he's doing better now. Stu's doing better. I saw that he was up and awake in the hospital. He's communicative, so he's not like should be no lasting effects. But man, it was like hard to see. Like, it made my gut like uneasy.
Yeah, I mean, undelivered blows like that. I mean, the guy's unconscious, and any extra repeated damage, especially to the head, while the guy's back of the head is on the ground. So he's literally just bouncing his fist off his face, and his back of the head is bouncing off of the canvas. It was an ugly scene, not to mention the guy is a military veteran with PTSD. So the implications with the mental health outcome of this, like the result, like what's he going to be like now? They were saying in the ring, he flatlined, was choking on teeth, had no recollection of the event. And I just want to get your opinion on kind of just how you think this all went down. Is it Rajah Jackson's fault? There were some wrestlers that told Rajah Jackson to give them their receipt and to tag his shit. Where do you kind of place blame in this situation, guys?
Yeah. I mean, probably on both ends, right? I mean, the dude is old enough to understand his own actions and to control his anger. He's an MMA fighter, right? So his father's one of the most famous MMA fighters, right? At some point, that professionalism has to come into play. But I mean, you also have to put some of the blame on the organization too, right? Knox X Pro, like, saying some of that stuff with no context to someone who has no context in that world is crazy, because a receipt in wrestling is like, you can usually see them when they're happening in the ring. Like, oh, this person accidentally punched this one person, so they're going to give them a receipt the next time out. They're going to punch them back in one of the back and forths, right? So I think you got to kind of put blame on both places. And I think what's crazy is, so Knox X Pro, I know you guys don't really watch like WWE all that much, but are you familiar with Rikishi?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do watch
Rikishi's
WWE,
school.
by the way. I do.
Oh, word. Yeah. So this is actually Rikishi's school. This is his pro wrestling school, and they had an affiliation with WWE ID program, which is just like essentially like WWE putting a tag on the school saying like, this is a place where you can develop to become one day, right, a WWE superstar. And it looks like WWE was not too happy about it when it went viral, and they took that away. So I think they probably see it very similarly to how I'm seeing it, right? Like, you got to put blame on both areas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I think, for sure the blame's on Rajah. He's a grown-ass man who, like, right and wrong, okay? And you knew that was wrong. But I think part of the blame is on, I think, the other wrestlers, and I think like social media, right? He was live, right? People were in his chat calling him like a pussy, saying, "Oh, like if you don't do this, like, you're not a man." And like, you know, somebody with a fragile ego might look at something like that and be like, "Oh, I'm not a man. I have to make everyone think I'm really manly." And then he goes and does something that is just absolutely despicable. So I think it's a bit everything. I think it's like this whole idea that like we have to be viewed a certain way by certain people, and like social media, like it's a whole thing that I think is just overall pretty negative. But I do think as a grown man you should know better. Like if I was streaming and I read that, I'd be like, shut up. Like I'm not gonna go attack this guy. Um but yeah, I think most of the blame's on Raja, but I think you can put some of the blame on his kick chat and the other wrestlers and the organization.
And obviously, for context, where Joey was talking about the receipt, there was the incident that occurred between the two prior to the event where Psycho Stu smashes a can of beer or soda over Raja's head.
Prop can.
A prop can, in which cameras were around. Psycho Stu said he thought it was a work because there was cameras around. He figured, oh, let's do something for TV. And to your point, Aiden, I think this just exponentially affects Raja more so, because if you think about what he's been going through, he is an 0-1 professional fighter as Quentin Rampage's son. That probably does not feel good for him, for one.
No.
He is also recovering from a concussion.
Yep.
And I'm assuming he got knocked out to get this concussion. How else would he have gotten this concussion?
I actually think I saw a clip. I think he was sparring not too long ago, and I think someone threw a pretty hard head kick in sparring, and it connected. I don't think he got knocked out, but he was very clearly concussed from just when he got hit. Like you could tell he was very close to getting knocked out.
Yeah. So I think this was probably just all a huge blow to his ego as an 0-1 professional fighter, son of Quentin Rampage Jackson. Obviously, the chat plays a huge narrative into this, and they're always, if you look at the chats, what they're saying to Raja, there's this narrative that Rampage doesn't like his son as much as his other sons, because he's a bit of a troublemaker. So I think there's a lot more in terms of, Raja. There's a lot more to unpeel back on Raja himself, because I feel like as an 0-1 fighter, if I was Quentin Rampage's son, I might not take that too well either. On top of getting a concussion while training or whatever, and then now you get this prop can smashed over your head, and your entire chat saying, "Hey, you're a pussy if you don't drop this dude on his head." So I think that's probably one of the more overlooked things. It was definitely premeditated, and it was an ego. It was a clear lash out of ego from Raja.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that upsets me the most is that after the prop can incident, him and Stuart shook hands, and like he apologized. He accepted his apology. He was like, "It's okay." As a man, like you can't go back on that, in my opinion. And I think that made it more upsetting to me. And then, of course, there's clips of him like turning to his camera while he's streaming and being like, "I'm gonna get this guy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get this guy. This is not gonna be fake. Like I'm gonna like like all the evidence the police need.
Yeah, literally, like I'm not gonna get off this guy until they pull me off. 20 punches later, that's what happened.
She was
crazy. He literally said he was going to do something, carried out the action. It's damaging in terms of evidence. Obviously, that family has money, but that said, I don't know. I wouldn't know what that kind of money can do for a legal case, because I don't have it, so I can't speak to that. Maybe it'll help, maybe it won't, but I'll tell you what, I think it's even more damning in terms of the evidence against him that this whole thing was streamed and he's sitting there the whole time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. I mean, if it actually goes to court, he's fucked. Let's be real here.
And I also think the wrestler who told him to do that is probably going to get, I think he's going to
at minimum, he's going to not have a lot of work in the future as a pro wrestler.
Well, he's already fired from NoxX, and he's already stated that he can't pro wrestle anymore. Whether that means
good,
I guess maybe some other indie promotions told him that he couldn't work there either. I don't know.
Well, because imagine like having to wrestle with that guy. You don't know if he's going to go off the rail and do something to you or tell someone else to do something to you. Like I wouldn't trust that guy.
Yeah,
not at all.
No, it's just crazy. Since the filming of this episode, Raja was arrested on Thursday, September 18th, and he was released on the 19th after posting his $50,000 bail. But even though he's posted bail, he's currently awaiting further legal proceedings. So we'll have to keep an eye and see what happens next.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's absolutely going to be interesting.
Alrighty, let's keep things moving. So, as I was scrolling through Twitter, I saw two separate interviews. One that MERAB did with Full Send, and then Khabib did one back home in Russia. What it translated to is Khabib is saying that if Ilia and Arman Tsarukyan end up fighting, which I don't think is going to end up being the next matchup, unfortunately, but he says if they do, he believes Arman beats Ilia. And he feels like Ilia has only faced strikers, and when he meets Arman, he's gonna have difficulties with his MMA wrestling. I wanted to get you guys' take on that. What do you guys think?
I mean, I disagree. I think could Arman beat Ilia? Yes. Ilia hasn't only faced strikers. I mean, if you just, Volkanovski, for one, yes, he's a striker. He arguably out-wrestled Islam in their first fight. Like, arguably, like, he held his own against Islam. He was never really in danger the whole fight. Islam's probably the best wrestler in the UFC, so there's that. He submitted Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell is a grappler, right? Like, he's a grappler first. And all grappling, he was able to pass Charles Oliveira's guard. Which, like, in jiu-jitsu, like, a guy like Charles Oliveira, nobody passes his guard, and he did it. He also escaped a heel hook. Like, I think Ilia has good enough ground game to where he deserves more respect than that. And, like, Arman really couldn't do jack against Charles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a pretty close fight against Charles, and we saw what Ilia did to Charles, you know? I think everyone's going to have a very hard time avoiding that hook for 5 rounds. And I don't think Arman is going to put himself in a position to get submitted. Maybe he could, or not Arman, Ilia, but Arman's a big guy, you know, for sure. But I don't know. I would pick Ilia. I'm done betting against Ilia. I did it for the Max fight. I did it for the Volk fight. I'm not doing it anymore. You know, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not do anything but bet on the man who has basically killed all of our favorite fighters for the past year? Max Holloway, Volk, Charles Oliveira. I agree with Aiden in the fact that, well, Charles Oliveira is a grappler. I think people overlook that about Charles because his striking is so good. The thing about Charles is he's a better grappler than a striker, in my opinion, and he's such a good striker. I think that's why that gets overlooked, because a lot of his fights lately have been standing up. And, of course, the adjustment in how he's fought has been different, where he's been way more aggressive and not as passive as he's been before. Bryce Mitchell, like you said, is a grappler. There's one more name that you forgot to mention, and that's Ryan Hall. And that's pretty much what put Ilia Topuria on the map after
I forgot about
his
that
ass.
Yeah.
Whooping his ass.
Ryan Hall did like 100 Imanari rolls that fight.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to fight Ryan for so long because of that.
And Topuria stepped up. Why? Because Topuria also has a amazing grappling pedigree. That's another thing that people don't.
Didn't he start in Greco-Roman wrestling too?
I believe
wasn't that his start?
Yes, that was his start. He started wrestling. He didn't start striking. I think, you know, it's so awesome because a guy like Topuria is so good at grappling, but striking is obviously his strong suit, and that's exciting for fans. Like, we should just appreciate that a fighter like this exists now, because if anybody is going to be a guy like Arman Tsarukyan, it will be Ilia Topuria. It will be a fighter like Ilia Topuria. That said, I kind of agree with Khabib. Tsarukyan might kill Topuria just because I think Tsarukyan is a different level of grappler. I feel like he's a bad matchup. Can Topuria win? Yes, I believe Topuria can win.
He couldn't out-grapple Charles. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my point, is like he couldn't out-grapple Charles.
I mean, I think he definitely, maybe not out-grappled.
He got put in like 3 subs that were close.
3 subs that were really close. Exactly.
I don't know.
Doing that to Charles Oliveira.
No. Charles did that to Arman.
Oh, you're talking. Well, Arman also put him in he had him in an arm triangle, right? That he escaped with, and then I thought I might be remembering the fight incorrectly. I thought Arman got him into like an arm triangle that he escaped, and then eventually that led to like the end of the fight.
I know Charles had him in a like like almost like a sprawled guillotine.
Yeah.
And then I think he had him in another jumping guillotine.
I
There were
remember the
like
fight
2 or 3
correctly.
subs where it was like, and then there was the one where Arman only escaped because he like took his shorts off.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
forgot about that.
saying, like,
I
look,
forgot about that.
And here's the thing: I think fighters have an issue when they go against Ilia Topuria, where they feel like they have something to prove. I'm gonna outstrike him.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna get in there, and then they die.
Well, to that point, I don't think Arman's going to do that. I don't think he's that prideful.
No, but Arman's gonna do that stupid ass fucking axe kick where he throws his leg as high as he can, and Ilia's not gonna get hit by it. He's gonna fucking kill him. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think Arman's the guy that beats Ilia. I really don't. Is he even gonna make weight? Is he gonna make weight?
Yeah,
like,
good point.
I think so, dude. So one of the things that I do on the Scrap is the IG Fight Camp series, and I ended up following not only Arman's camp where he was the backfill for the last Ilia Topuria fight, but also he helped. Like, he's the reason why Hamzat was able to have the most successful camp. He came out to California. He had everything. I mean, dude is rich. Dude has a cook. Dude has everything.
You know what I mean?
Dude, beyond me.
With
But
Ilia,
I guess
though.
100%. Well, Ilia kind of grew, right? And a lot of what Khabib is saying here is like that he believes that the UFC does not want to feed Ilia to Arman because of his wrestling, and he feels like, really, obviously Ilia is the more popular fighter here and Arman isn't, so that's probably one of the things that's holding it up. But it seems like, Aiden, you don't necessarily believe that. You probably are still under the impression of, well, is he even going to make weight? And that is probably why he's not getting this title shot, because he missed weight last time out. Is that true? Is that
I think that plays a role. However, in my personal opinion, lightweight is, I made a whole YouTube video on this, shameless plug, but
this man looked at the camera to say
I think lightweight is a bit of a mess right now, and I think we need more activity. We need somebody for the champ to fight. I don't think there's anyone more deserving than Arman. In a perfect world, I think when you miss weight for a title fight, I think, fuck you, you're not fighting for the belt for your next fight. You have to fight a contender. But I don't think there's anyone else who even who else would fight him right now? You know what I mean? Gaethje, come on. Let's not even... Do any of you actually think Gaethje could beat Ilia?
No, I do not think...
Joey, don't lie to me.
I do not think Justin Gaethje could beat Ilia Topuria.
Don't lie to me, Joey.
I don't think necessarily that he can beat Ilia, but the thing that pisses people off about Justin Gaethje is knowing his wrestling pedigree, why he doesn't incorporate it enough. But
he's allergic to it,
basically. But even if he doesn't win, that's probably the best or the most fun fight for Ilia, because Justin's gonna get in there and bang.
Mm-mm.
You don't think so?
Well, so if you mean in octagon action, yes. The most fun fight for Ilia Topuria is Patty the fucking baddie, dude.
Oh yeah,
that's the
build.
Obviously. That's the most fun build up. But
you know why they're not doing it, right?
100%.
You know why they're not doing it.
Yeah, and look, what I think,
because Patty's ranked 7 or some shit. Like,
what I think should happen.
He's not there yet. He's not there yet.
What I think should happen is him and Arman should fight.
I agree.
And I think Arman would probably win that fight. Maybe.
You mean Arman versus Patty?
Yeah, Arman.
Yeah, I think Patty has a chance, but I think it's a slim chance. I think Arman's just too experienced in the UFC, and Arman's he's jacked. Like, let's be real.
And that's why I think that Arman will present problems, like more so grappling problems to Ilia Topuria because of the size. That said, Ilia Topuria, of course, has probably adjusted the lightweight a lot better now that he's been in the division longer. And we've seen how Max Holloway's been adjusted. That's another matchup that could happen. Match him and Max Holloway up for the belt, and then also have Arman and Patty fight.
I don't even I don't even want to. I don't want to see that. Max Holloway is my favorite fighter of all time. I don't even. I'll wait till Ilia's not.
Well, dude, I'm sorry,
good.
but I
I'm
think
good
Max
off that.
Holloway would rather have a fucking title fight than rather you not watch it.
Good
You know
off
what I
that.
mean?
I'm good off that. I do not need to. If I see him get flatlined again, I might not be here the next day.
But
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's the fight you have to make. I think that's the exciting fight you make. I don't think it should be Gaethje because I don't think Gaethje deserves the fight, and I don't think he could win against Ilia Topuria just because he's had recent struggles out there. You know, he beat Fiziev again, but on like 6 days' notice.
Everybody beats Fiziev. Like, come on, everyone in the top like 5 could beat Fiziev, no problem. Okay. Yes,
What about
Fiziev's a
Dan
good
Hooker?
fighter,
What about Dan Hooker?
That guy is. I like Dan Hooker, but he's slow and he hasn't fought in a year because he's been injured. Okay? All right, let's be real here. Dan Hooker's Dan Hooker versus Ilia Topuria would be the slaughter. That would be insane. Book it, fuck it. You know, who cares? He's ranked 6th, he's higher than Patty. Fuck it, book it.
But to kind of piggyback off of this conversation, MERAB was on the Full Set podcast, and he was talking about the potential super fight between Islam and Ilia. And I kind of put both of the interviews together, right? Because if Khabib's saying this about Arman, you know damn well he believes Islam's going to absolutely maul Ilia. So I wanted to get your guys' take because MERAB feels like Ilia knocks out Islam.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Bro, Ilia's so little. He's so little compared to Islam.
But what's the one way Islam lost? It was by a glancing KO shot. And who else?
From Alexandre Pantoja. I'm just kidding.
And who
just look like him.
And who could you count on more to land a shot like that? Ilia Topuria. That said, man, Islam's so good, man. I feel like he gets a lot of hate just because he's been looking kind of like obviously Dustin Poirier had success against him. Volkanovski had success against him in the first fight. But let's remember who these guys are too. You know, it's Dustin Poirier and Alexander Volkanovski.
Yeah.
At the same time, Ilia has knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. Man, look, I think Topuria's got great grappling. And if I think Arman can neutralize the threat of the striking, I'm gonna say Islam can do it too.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
I think a big part of it depends on where they fight at. You know, 170 versus 155.
Yeah, true.
And I think a big part of it also depends on what happens in their next fights. Specifically, if Islam loses against JDM, he's probably coming back down to 155. If he loses to JDM, I'm assuming it's either going to be like a grueling decision where he takes a lot of damage or he's getting knocked out, right? If that's the case, I would be much more inclined to pick Ilia at 155 by knockout, right? If they fight at 170, Islam's already a huge lightweight. Like 170, I don't know. I'd pick Islam. I don't think Islam would fuck around on the feet with Ilia. I think he'd take him down. I think he'd probably try and arm triangle him or Darce choke or something. It is funny though. I've been Twitter. You know, I saw on Twitter someone said Islam went toe to toe with the corpse of Dustin Poirier. What do you think Ilia is gonna do to him? And I was like, damn. But I think that's a very different scenario. I think Islam knew that Islam's a pretty good striker, like comparatively to like with how good his wrestling is, you would assume he'd have like Khabib level striking, but he's significantly better than Khabib, and I think he wanted to kind of prove that against Dustin. I don't think he's going to take that risk against Ilia because Ilia puts people's lights out, and everyone knows that. Yeah. I think I would lean Islam unless he loses to JDM and comes back down to 155. Then I would lean Ilia.
I think your logic behind that is I would agree with. If the fight did happen at 155, I would have a much tougher time picking Islam to win that fight than if it were to occur at 170. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're spot on with that.
I still don't think I could lean heavily in favor of either guy. I think both have the tools to win the fight. I think it's like at worst it's probably like the guy I'm leaning towards has like a 55-60% chance to winning, and the other guy's like 45-40. You know, like it's still pretty close.
Yeah, 100%. That said, I mean, how do you guys feel about Islam JDM? I mean, that fight got made. Like, what do you guys think? How does that go? Because that plays into the topic here. You know, a lot of people. I've seen some people say that JDM probably has the best chance to beat Islam.
JDM overhand right, first round, 5 seconds. 5 seconds in.
Honestly, dude, I used to count the Russians out all the time. I used to go to when I used to go to a lot of the fights back in the day, especially during Connor's like rise.
Oh, everybody hated the Russians during Connor's rise.
Everyone hated the Russians, but when you're there, that atmosphere,
it's different.
You can't root against Connor. At that point in his career, it was a huge fight. So I was there for Khabib Connor. And from then on, I was always
You were at that fight?
You were at that fight.
Dude,
wow.
I'm jealous.
It has ruined UFC live event experiences for me because there's nothing
you got to
like
see both. You got to see both fights.
You
saw the fight and then you saw the brawl after. Yeah,
bro. But you know what else I saw? The fucking crowd. When we were at the weigh-ins, dude, there was like a Russian couple fighting a Irish couple, and they were just swinging purses and throwing chairs and shit. Like the atmosphere was unreal. You had tons of people flying from Ireland to be there. Like the atmosphere was insane. So, anywho, around that time, I was always, Connor versus the Russians. I always picked against the Russians. They were really grappling heavy. They were using their wrestling, whatever the case may be. But everything changed for me when I started covering the IG fight camps and seeing how much goes into the behind the scenes of camps for guys like these. I just can't root against Islam ever. It's just not in me anymore. I don't see JDM winning whatsoever. I think this is going to be pretty dominant. And you have to think he was cutting to 155. How much scarier is Islam going to be not having to cut as much weight? It's going to be a whole different Islam, in my opinion. So I'm not rooting against him. Sorry.
Good point.
I disagree. Okay.
Here we go.
I don't fully disagree. I think Islam has a super good chance at winning because Islam's just that good. I think in any division Islam can make weight in, I think his chance to win is significant because he's such a skilled fighter. I think JDM has a good chance because JDM and his coaches do one thing super well, and that's game planning. They game plan and they follow that game plan extremely well. Kind of similar to like an Ian Gary, right? Where we've seen Ian Gary beat guys who maybe he has no business beating, or maybe like stylistically you don't think it makes sense, and then he comes out and beats them anyways. I think that JDM has a very good game planning, and I think his takedown defense was so good against Bilal. Now, granted, Islam's not going to play around like Bilal did. Islam's going to really hunt for the takedown significantly more than Bilal did. But if JDM shows takedown defense like that, and he has good scrambles, because, I mean, if you watch JDM's fights, it's kind of weird. Like, he'll get taken down and then just, like, stand up, and you're like, how'd that happen? You're like, how'd that happen? Yeah. If he can do that, granted, I do think Islam is probably, despite being smaller than Bilal, I think he's probably stronger than Bilal. Just based off looks and based off the way that they've handled their competition. Like, I mean, Bilal struggled picking up stickman Leon Edwards, so, you know. Yeah. But I think JDM has a chance. I think it's worrisome, though, because I could see a world where he takes JDM down early and he subs him just because he's so strong. When you see him crank those submissions, the back muscles on that guy, dude, I'm like worried about people's heads exploding. So,
dude,
but I think
a freak athlete.
If JDM is able to really like shore up the takedown defense even more than in his previous fight against Bilal, and if his scrambles stay that good, I think he definitely could win. I don't think I see him knocking out Islam. Islam does have a pretty good chin. And and I think Islam has good defense as well. I could see potentially a really good 5-round fight. I could see a really good like decision win for either guy, and I think it'd be really entertaining. So I'm very excited for that fight for sure. Just because I think his takedown defense and his grappling defense is good enough to where I don't think we have to be worried about him getting subbed like as quick as like Renato Moicano was. But I think Islam has good enough striking defense to where he's not going to just get clipped and get knocked out like right away. So I think it could be a maybe similar to like a Dustin Poirier fight where we see like, but I do think JDM will have more success than Dustin Poirier did.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a good fight. What were you going to say, Seth?
I was going to agree. I was going to agree that JDM is definitely going to have more success than Dustin Poirier in this fight because I look at him as the faster striker. I think JDM's a little bit faster than Dustin Poirier. And I also think that his striking is a little bit better.
I think his grappling defense is better than.
And I think his grappling defense is better too. Good point. And look, we've seen Islam Makhachev struggle against the southpaw striker at times. So I think JDM, as the bigger guy, is going to have a lot more strength to get himself out of grappling situations. Maybe Islam might be ready for that. Maybe he won't be. I don't know. We'll see how he adjusts to the weight class. Because if he comes in big, then my point is null and void. However, I think JDM is going to be bigger. He's going to be a slicker striker. And we saw, as Aiden jokingly read off a tweet talking about Islam struggled against the corpse of Dustin Poirier. I mean, if you struggle against Dustin Poirier, and look, DP's a great striker, one of the best in the UFC, you're also going to struggle against JDM.
I don't actually think. I mean, okay, you could argue he struggled against Dustin, but I mean, I think Dustin only won one round of that fight up until the finish. Islam couldn't get a lot done because Dustin's grappling defense was so good, and he had plenty of opportunities where he did land some really good strikes on Islam, but not enough to where I was like, whoa, Dustin's winning the fight. He won that round. Like, I think if that 5th round finished and it went to a decision, I think that it would have been at best 2 rounds to 3, but I think it was 4 rounds to 1 in favor of Islam.
Sorry, dude.
It's okay. I'm a funny guy. I get it. It's all right.
Yeah, sure.
It's all right. I get it.
But I think
I thought he was the fuck.
We're here to talk business.
I think one of the things, though, that I think a lot of people forget with Islam is the majority of his title fights, sadly, have all come on short notice. He has fought everyone on short notice. So now you're telling me that he's going to have a full camp and fight JDM at a weight class heavier. I honestly think he's going to make JDM look a bit amateur. And listen, I'll fucking edit this out if I'm wrong. Just because, just because I have the fucking power to do stuff.
No way.
No way, bro. No.
Hey,
But
I'm gonna say
I need this shit sent to me just because if you're wrong, I'm posting it on all my social media.
Dude, I'm picking JDM with you, Aiden. I think I'm with you.
Oh,
but that
y'all
said,
are
I'm not
crazy.
gonna be shocked. I'm not gonna be
Y'all
shocked
are crazy.
Islam dominates,
The way
I think JDM has a 45 to 70% chance to win.
Listen, I am not gonna discredit JDM. I think he's a great fighter, but I see JDM similarly to how I view Jamal Hill. You were never supposed to get the title. You were never not like obviously they're different fighters, right?
1 minute 37 seconds later.
I don't know why this keeps happening.
Bro, it's because you're spewing nonsense.
No.
You're spewing
No. You mean to tell me that JDM
you did
would
not
be a
compare
champion?
JDM to Jamal Hill.
Absolutely, because they were never supposed to be champions. I'm not comparing their fighting styles.
Jamal Hill beat Glover Teixeira, who was like
right. He was never supposed to be champion. If you consider everything that happened around these fights, Jamal Hill was never supposed to become a UFC light heavyweight champion. He got it because the UFC at the time was butthurt about John Jones trying to negotiate his contract. He was stalling the Stipe fight because of injuries. Then when the division moved on, it changed hands a couple times. When Jiri finally won it, he got injured. He was forced to vacate. That's when the UFC moved on with Jan versus Ankalaev. That fight ended in a draw. So then they just moved the title implications over to Jamal versus Glover, which was already booked. So you mean to tell me that if if
I
Shavkat
like,
ended up beating, because he would have beat Bilal, you think JDM is beating Shavkat or Islam to become a champion?
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure Shavkat would have beat Bilal.
Oh, that's how I know you're smoking crack.
Shavkat went tooth and nail with Ian Gary, the cuck. What do you mean? Ian Gary almost subbed him. What are you talking about here? I think Ian Gary could beat Shavkat in a rematch.
Bro, the Ian Gary narrative dies when you see how hot his wife is.
Yo,
it dies when you see how hot his wife is.
I don't actually think he's a cuck, by the way. I just want to clarify.
No,
that.
he's not.
He's not.
He's not. And he's proven
I
himself.
like Ian
Time
Gary.
and time again.
I like Ian Gary.
Her book sucks.
You don't even know how to read.
Why is Seth reading how to become a wag? What are you trying to tell us here?
Yo, I got plenty of other, but like, you want to read Dune? I got you.
Yeah, bet.
Like, that'd be better than how to become a wag.
I need to get a bookshelf.
Yeah, most of these are
it's just one shelf of how to be a wag.
Yeah, perfect.
Just multiple books,
and then like the Bible in the middle.
Yeah, just because
I get the narrative you're saying about like JDM wasn't supposed to become champion, but Shavkat pulled out. Shavkat never fights. Okay, yes, he's good, but he never fights. He just doesn't. Like, let's look at it how it is. And yeah, I don't like Hamzat either. So, good point, Joey.
Listen,
they're champs.
You know who else was never supposed to be champion? Alex Pereira. That dude was never supposed to be.
Yeah, he got fast tracked. He got fast tracked.
And look what happened with him, man. Look what happened with him.
Look, all I'm gonna say is if JDM beats Islam, I want a full video apology from you, Joey.
I think if that happens,
and I want you to take back the fucking Jamal Hill comparison, because that was crazy. That's crazy. Have you seen Jamal Hill's footwork, dude? Jamal Hill got dropped like 4 times by Khalil Roundtree. Okay, I don't want to hear it. All right, JDM is on an 18-fight win streak. Put some respect on the Australian's name. Okay. Now, if Islam goes out there and just absolutely murders JDM, the next episode we do of this, I'm gonna get on there and be like, I told you guys Islam was gonna murder him. And I'm just gonna totally pretend like I was on Islam's side the whole time. So you can't beat me.
We've done enough talking so far. Now it's time to hear from you. We saw this tweet from ACD MMA asking, if you were allowed to make one rule change about wrestling/grappling in the UFC, what are you changing? Go ahead and let us know what you would change in the comments below. UFC flyweight Tim Elliott ended up chiming in with a few interesting ideas, even though it only asks for one, but he said, make grabbing the glove and the cage legal, then we don't have to worry about it. Yes, you may hurt a finger or a toe, but also it's a fight. We'll go ahead and respond to the best comments, but that should be enough of a break for these fuckers. Let's get back to the show. So, speaking of UFC pay-per-views, there will be no more in 2026 after the 7-year US media rights deal, making Paramount the exclusive home of all UFC events starting in 2026. So that means all numbered pay-per-views, there's 13 per year, and all fight nights, which are 30 per year, will stream on Paramount Plus. Select marquee fights will also simulcast on CBS. But this effectively retires the pay-per-view model. What do you guys think about this?
Man, I want to say real quick, does it retire the pay-per-view model? Because Dana White has already come out after this whole thing happened and said pay-per-views
Go off, Queen. Go off, Queen.
He said pay-per-view's not dead. So you already know they're backtracking on this a little bit.
Dana White is a greedy little fat man. Okay, so, let's be real here.
Let's be real. Is this really the end of UFC pay-per-views? Like, how many of these shows a year are going to be pay-per-view? 1 or 2, 3 or 4? Like, there's going to be a stacked card, because if Dana's saying this, there's going to be a stacked card that comes out with like Islam, JDM, Ilia, Max, whatever, 3 title fights on it, and it's going to be a fucking pay-per-view. That's how I feel. Like
the White House card, probably.
After he said that, it made me like question everything about whether or not this is really going to be the end of pay-per-view.
If they raise my Paramount Plus subscription and make me pay for pay-per-views,
look,
I'm going back to crack streams.
Yeah, for real. Let's also consider, like, what if these are just for like fight nights that are going to be on Paramount? You know, they're saying like the end of pay-per-view or whatever. You know, we see how WWE's doing things. They just skyrocketed the prices in terms of what they've been. Obviously, still not. I wouldn't say it's like the $30 for like the big PLEs is like egregious, but that's still a significant uptick in how much these things are going to be.
Yeah.
Now we have a subscription-based model, which is going to include, will it include fight nights? I don't know. If it's just going to be pay-per-views, I don't know, because Dana White has already said that this isn't the end of pay-per-view. So I don't know what the fuck, what's going to happen. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's the end of pay-per-view. If it is, if it means that I'm paying $15-20 a month to get UFC all year, perfect. Awesome. That's great. That means more people are going to watch. Hopefully, you know, because obviously the streams are free. People are going to still take to the streams if they got to save a buck or two. I will buy the subscription 100%, you know, instead of going to Miller's for every fight, because I don't illegally stream.
We got one. We got him. We're watching this guy right now. All you have to do is turn it on Saturday, and we got you, fucker.
Look, yeah, I think there'll still be some available on pay-per-view for people who don't want the stream, right? But I think their whole it's just a little odd. Like when you consume both WWE and UFC, since they're both under TKO, like they're switching spots almost in a sense. I mean, WWE right now is on Peacock. They're now going on ESPN. UFC is leaving ESPN and is now going to Paramount Plus. So in hindsight, the pay-per-view in itself is dead. I think partly why they wanted to go this route is because the UFC is kind of on the decline when you think about just how oversaturated they've made the market, right? You got Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday. You always have at least cards every weekend, maybe one weekend off. You have your pay-per-view every single month. You have some stars kind of making it out of the woodworks, right? And building themselves, but you have a lot of like, for people who don't watch the sport often, no names, right? Kind of headlining fight nights and things along those lines. So I think to kind of save their ass, they're going this route. But if you also have to compare all the pay-per-view numbers that have happened while pay-per-view was still alive, nobody's touching Connor's numbers or even coming close. So it's one of those things where like, we got to build a star. Well, we got to hide the numbers. At least that's the way that I'm looking at it from a business perspective. So, yeah.
So here's one thing I want to mention about that, actually. I think it's an interesting kind of point of it. I have a buddy who owns a bar, right? So he does all the UFC fights. He pays like 20 grand a year for all the pay-per-views, right? Because you have to pay for the capacity of your bar or whatever. Mm-hmm. There is no Paramount Plus for bar. Like there's no like commercial Paramount Plus as of yet, right? So he's wondering if he's still going to have to pay all the pay-per-view prices. Like our bars and restaurants like Buffalo Wild Wings, etc. Are they going to have to pay for all the pay-per-views still? Or are they going to make like a commercial version of Paramount Plus that's going to cost, let's say, I don't know, $5 grand a month. So still cheaper, but $5 grand a month or something like that. Or not a month, but $5 grand a year or whatever. So that's an interesting part of it. So maybe pay-per-view is not being dead. Maybe also pay-per-view is really mainly a US thing. They don't have pay-per-views in Britain. They don't have Canada. Yeah. So it's mainly a US thing. Like, so I think because they're like not legal in those countries or whatever, but like we're America, we're the land of the free type shit. So,
type shit.
Like, I think that's an interesting point is like maybe bars and stuff are going to be keeping the pay-per-view model alive. I'm going to be really pissed off if there's a card I really want to see and they're like, hey, your Paramount Plus subscription's no good. But if they do it the way you're talking about, Joey, where maybe like somebody doesn't want to have Paramount Plus, but they just want to buy one pay-per-view, I'd be okay with that because it wouldn't negatively affect me. I wouldn't have to shell out extra money for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what would be the biggest draw and the best send-off for pay-per-view, it has to be McGregor. He holds, I think, the top 8 spots in the top 10.
Yeah.
He had 8 straight 1 million pay-per-view buys. Like, it's just, I mean, even McGregor versus Chandler with like a shitty co-main and a mid rest of the main card would still get casual fans to tune in.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so like I could almost guarantee my stepmom and my dad would buy that fucking card if McGregor was on it. So,
yeah.
I think that would be great. I mean, you could do, John Jones versus Aspinall would be a crazy one.
That's my pick.
Obviously, we know that's not happening because John is a pussy and Tom's already fighting Cyril Gahn. So there's that.
Yeah, he wants to be on the UFC. He wants to be on that card. I know. Yeah, but John Jones wants to.
But Dana White's saying, nah, twin.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
I don't.
Well, yeah, he immediately after he retired, right? He got in trouble again.
Yeah,
right.
And before he retired.
Yeah, and like it's just look, as legendary as John Jones is, you talk about a White House fight or something like that. It's understandable that Dana White, especially a guy like Dana White,
would he even be allowed at the White House?
I mean,
that's a question. Would him or Conor McGregor, with their criminal backgrounds, even be allowed at the White House?
I think so. I mean, because Kid Rock was there.
You see John Jones dapping up Trump. Like, yes, we saw what Trump did for Chimaev.
I mean, they almost shot MERAB when he tried to go say something to Trump. Did you see that?
Yeah.
After his fight, he jumped the cage, and you see Secret Service like go down and like, oh shit, dude, we almost lost MERAB, dude. Like, damn.
So yeah, I think he would probably be allowed.
Yeah, I just think it's funny logistically to think about, like,
yes, to criminals at the White House fighting and headlining an event. Yes.
yeah.
I think the best way to end on pay-per-view would have been Jones Aspinall. That would have been the best way, because I think, call me crazy, the decline of the UFC, I think that could have been a catalyst to for them to turn things around, and they couldn't get it done. The perfect way, not that Gaethje and Ilia isn't end of the year pay-per-view worthy. I think Topuria by himself at this point has solidified himself as at least a little bit of a draw, not to the extent of a Conor or anything like that, but he is an exciting fighter, and everybody wants to see him continue his career, right? So I think the perfect way would have been Jones Aspinall. As someone who follows the sport, I think maybe all of us feel this a little bit. It is a little bit disappointing that it's Topuria Gaethje, but it is cool that Nunes and Kayla is finally this is a fight that's been fantasized for years. I mean, now we're talking about women's MMA history when you put a fight like that.
It'll be a great piss break. All right, let me clarify. I was kidding. All right. I was kidding.
Aiden just wants to get canceled.
Yeah, dude. This guy is trying.
I've been canceled. I've been canceled before. So
this dude is clip farming, bro.
That was a joke. I actually am excited for that fight. Amanda Nunes is, I think, pretty entertaining. I think Kayla Harrison's pretty entertaining. I love MMA Guru's fucking impression of her at the press conference. I'm gonna fuck you, like crazy. But she's buff, dude. Kayla Harrison is buff,
ginormous, dude, ginormous.
And I think stylistically, I think that's a really entertaining fight.
I disagree. I think stylistically, that's a boring fight.
Yeah, well, no one cares. So,
okay,
anyways.
my bad, dude. I think it's a boring fight just because I think Kayla Harrison's a boring fighter. And she's going to try to rub up on Amanda Nunes all fight. It's going to be clinch grappling. It's going to be all that stuff.
Well, elaborate on what you mean by that.
Like, I think she's just going to pressure. She's going to pressure.
I know.
Against the fence. All right, you fucking.
I know.
She's going to pressure. She's going to pressure Amanda Nunes against the fence. And if Amanda Nunes does have success, I think it'll probably be lights out for Kayla Harrison, because she cuts so much weight now. You know what I mean? Like she used to be like 155, or she said that was difficult for her. Now she's at 135.
What do you think she weighs outside of camp?
Like 160. She's got to be like 160 at least.
Probably more than that.
For women,
if she was cutting to 155 and that was hard for her, she's got to be more than 160.
And cutting is harder for women. Naturally, it's harder for women, I'm pretty sure. So now
she doesn't have many fights left to her in 135.
Kayla Harrison, I think it's going to be a boring matchup, just because the success that Kayla Harrison will have will be up against the fence, wrestling, doing whatever, and the success that Nunes will have will be just a one touch, and then it'll be like a standing TKO or something like that.
So what do you do if Kayla Harrison comes out and knocks out Amanda Nunes with like a spinning back fist or some shit?
What do I do?
can't see that.
I quit.
No, it wouldn't have, but it'd be like the equivalent of like Ben Askren knocking out like
Jorge Masvidal.
Oh, if Kayla Harrison knocks out Amanda Nunes, I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I get a tattoo probably.
Yeah. I don't see it happening, but
Me
I
neither.
think what's interesting about this fight for me is the backstory. And you have to think Kayla isn't showing signs like she was getting her ass whooped in camp. She's coming forward like she had the best of Nunes in camp, like the way that she's talking anyway. So I think that's where that makes things interesting. But I also find that this is interesting as the co-main to this one because I know a lot of people are going to say this is the biggest women's MMA fight in terms of skill set, maybe, but numbers, Nunes was never a draw and neither is Kayla. So they need the star power of Ilia. And I think for me, like what makes me disappointed about this being the potential final UFC pay-per-view is the fact that the one before it is fucking Islam, JDM, Weili Shevchenko. Like, why couldn't you just switch them? I don't know, but from a business perspective, Ilia is the rising star when you look at like social platform dominance. Out of everyone new, it's him and then Hamzat second. So they're gonna need to leave it. I guess it's kind of like Vince McMahon-esque storytelling to have him finish out the UFC year or the end of the UFC pay-per-view era. So yeah, we'll see how it is. But I think now's a good time to have a talk on the Scrapline. As I was scrolling through Instagram, I noticed this long-ass post from Gordon Ryan. When Gable Steveson pulled out of the Craig Jones Invitational, he was supposed to headline opposite of Craig. The post read, Gable pulling out of the main event of CGI 2 and then fighting less than 2 weeks later on UFC Fight Pass is such a baller move by UFC, who has been attacked nonstop for unknown reasons by CJ. I bet CJ never put a pullout clause in there for Gable, which would penalize him for pulling out. I'm sure there wasn't. Otherwise, Gable wouldn't have pulled out. I'm sure Gable read thoroughly through the contract, thanks to the advocacy about his matter from CJ. Now, CJ can't fight any real JJ guy because he'll surely lose, like always, and likely won't have time to find another joke match in time. My man can't win at anything. At least I'm still untouchable. Now, this was a bummer because Gable and Craig were promoting the hell out of the event, and I was going to tune in. But it looks like Craig Jones peeped that Gable like Gordon's post, so I'm going to keep this one plain and simple and agree with everything Craig said in the post addressing the issue. If you plan on agreeing to breach a contract at someone else's request, definitely don't have your friend make a public post admitting to that, and definitely don't like it yourself. Like, come on, bro. Gable Steveson, get your shit together. Let's get back to this fucking dumbass show.
All right, so Aiden, ChatGPT ranked the most boring fighters in MMA right now, and I want to ask you if they got it right. So I'm going to start with number 10. All right, we're going to go from 10 to 1. Starting with Islam Makhachev, then Kamaru Usman in the late career, Johnny Eblen, Jared Cannonier, then Grant Dawson, then Curtis Blades, Mavsar Evloyev, Merab, and then Ankalaev, and number 1 was Bilal Muhammad.
Okay. Get Islam off the fucking list.
Islam off the list. I don't know why the hell Islam is on this list. What are we talking about?
Right? I think people hear like Dagestani or wrestler and they go, "Ooh, he never done it." Like Islam has had some of the more entertaining fights I've seen as of late.
Yes.
Like no doubt about it. Absolutely. Yes, he's a grappler, but like he's willing to strike. He's a solid striker. I don't really ever get the vibe that he just like goes out there and just prays for the legs and that's all he does. Like he's striking. He's always trying to finish fights. Right? I thought Khabib was more entertaining than some people thought he was because I thought Khabib tried to finish fights. And Islam's way more entertaining than Khabib. So yeah, get Islam off the fucking list. I don't know what they're smoking.
Yeah. I think the ones they got right were Bilal. I think.
Yeah, I think some credit to Bilal though for his fight against JDM.
Yeah, 100%, and 100%. You're right. Because I felt that was his most exciting fight by far, and you saw that he was aggressive in that fight too.
Yeah. Typically, yeah, he's a little boring.
Yeah, typically. Merab I get. Ankalaev I get.
You know, I actually disagree with the MERAB take.
And I can see why somebody would, honestly.
And the reason why is because I think that I think his cardio is entertaining because he's constantly on the move, right? He's not taking people down and holding them there for 5 rounds. He's constantly he'll take you down and then just stand up to take you down again. He does strike with people. He's not a very good striker, but he does strike with people. And obviously in his most recent fight, he was able to press and get a finish. I think if he got more finishes, I think that boring narrative would go away. I also think his antics in the cage, I think, are entertaining. Like when he or when Umar went for a kick and missed and he did the whole, like, I think that stuff's entertaining. So I wouldn't say he's one of the more boring fighters.
Yeah. Another fighter that I thought was weird that was on this list. I think it's weird Kamaru's on this list. I think it's weird Islam's on this list. Eblen makes sense, but Jared Cannonier. I get that his last few fights were probably not as entertaining as people wanted them to be, because usually if Jared Cannonier is in an entertaining fight, he's knocking the guy out. But he's also been facing guys like Israel Adesanya and these high level fighters, and you know, I don't see him as a completely boring fighter, honestly.
I don't either. He's also 41, I think.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think there are more boring fighters than him. Like I think I think they got some right for sure. Like I think Evloev is fucking boring.
Yeah.
I think Ankalaev is an interesting one to me. I don't like Ankalaev, but I wouldn't really say that he's a super boring fighter. I mean,
I think he's
when he does what he did against Pereira and he like holds you against the cage and can't get a single takedown, that's pretty fucking boring. Yeah. But when he's actually striking, he's relatively entertaining. So I don't know that I'd fully agree with that one.
Yeah, he's a slower fighter too. Like he's not a guy that will come out over aggressive ever. He's a very calculated, cold fighter. You know, so that's how I view Ankalaev. One name that I'm surprised isn't on this list is Damian Maia. That dude is the most fucking boring fucking dude to watch ever. I have never been interested in a fight with Damian Maia in it, except when it was against Ben Askren, because I was watching the most horrible striking I've ever seen in my entire life. How is Damian Maia?
That was a very high level striking.
How is Damian Maia not on this list with fights against Tyron Woodley, what is criticized as one of the most boring title fights of all time, in which the lowest amount of strikes was ever recorded in a title fight? How is a guy like Damian Maia not on this fucking list? Because it's fucking AI, but
yeah, I mean, it could be because he's not in the UFC, but
yeah, true. Yeah, he's not current.
I don't think this is an all time. If it was all time,
yeah, this is current. Sure. This is current. Yeah, Joey's pointing out to me that.
you know, someone who's current that I actually do think is boring as fuck, and you might disagree. Some people might disagree with me, but I don't care. I think Leon Edwards is an extremely boring fighter, especially for a striker. He's a point fighter, and he kind of does nothing. His second fight against Kamaru Usman, he literally did nothing. He was super boring. Got lucky with a head kick. The second fight, I think almost every Leon Edwards fight is boring. Genuinely, like for a striker,
except for the one where he won. That one was fun, but for one moment.
Yes, yeah, I get. Like it's.
Because literally, you're feeling in that fight like, wow, dude, Leon just got shut down. This is
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a cool moment. Whatever, fucking, who cares though?
And then it goes to like, holy shit, that's one of the. But that's like literally 5 seconds of something.
Yeah, he's still a relatively boring fighter. Like for a striker, he's a point fighter, and I don't know. I think Carlos Paraches is gonna murder him, but.
I think that's actually a really good really good take of Leon Edwards being a boring fighter, because dude, you're right. These last fights that he's had have been just boring.
Oh, I mean, Anthony Smith before he retired.
Oh yeah, Smith after he fought Jones has been incredibly boring.
Anthony Mouseheart Smith fucking gives up at every opportunity. He's retired now.
But take my family.
That's yeah. I forgot about that, dude. Damn. I mean, obviously he's retired now, but that was relatively recent. He's pretty fucking boring. But I mean, other than that, I don't think the list was bad for the most part. Islam definitely crazy fucking
Yeah.
take by
Grant
AI.
Dawson on this list, I feel, can be kind of boring at times, but also not. Like, I don't know. Like some of these names are a little weird, but Ankalaev, I kind of understand. Merab, I get, but like you said, man, I don't think Merab's boring because all you see is him going back and forth in the cage and utilizing insane.
It's kind of funny watching a little guy just throw people around.
It's,
you know what I mean?
Kind of. It's dope. It's dope.
So yeah, I don't know. AI kind of sucks, but this list is all right. It's all right.
Massachusetts, 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 Lachadasechel, 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 Lachadasechel. Hebben we Lachadezegel. Tommy Fiori.
Upcoming pay-per-views. We have no pay-per-views in September. So, guys, let's talk about the top of the billing of UFC 320 predictions for the fights. Some of the big stories surrounding those fighters headlining into October 4th. Of course, we got Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira, the rematch. Ankalaev, of course, defeating Pereira by decision to take the win, take his belt. Now Pereira is rematching him, and a fight that I'm really interested in seeing. Might be terrible timing for Corey Sandhagen, who is fighting MERAB DVALISHVILI for the championship on the same card. Another card that I even think could probably be in the December card, and why wouldn't they just flip? But that's besides the point. So, guys, what do you guys feel about this card coming up? Talk to me about your predictions about how you see these fights playing out.
I'm excited, but I hate that it's an immediate rematch. We all know how immediate rematches go, and there's not always enough time to get better in between, but Pereira is getting older, right? So this one kind of does make sense for him to get it right off the bat. I'm excited for it, even though it'll probably be very similar to the first. Seth, I don't know if you saw recently, but it looks like Pereira was training with Luke Fernandez, CFFC light heavyweight champ, who's going to be on Dana White Contender Series. I thought that was pretty dope. What were they doing out there? Do you know?
No idea. You're actually giving me. I didn't even know this happened.
Oh, what? Yeah, now you have to go to Luke's page. Yeah, you got to go to Luke's page. Looks like they were training together yesterday or the day before yesterday. So that was pretty dope. He seems to be, I mean, he's in Connecticut now, so that New Jersey, Pennsylvania area is not too far. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm excited for this. They need Alex Pereira to win. When you look at this from a business perspective, and when you look at the top 20 most followed fighters, I ended up doing an article on the Scrap for it. He's actually on this list. I want to say around 15, 16. Ankalaev is nowhere to be seen, right? So when you're looking at this from who's going to be getting Dana White privilege in the lead up to this, it's obviously Poatan. I think they need him to win. What do you guys think?
I agree 100%. They need him to win. Just piggyback. It's a piggyback on what we were talking about earlier in terms of, why Ilia Topuria is not fighting Arman TSARUKYAN, why Khamzat Chimaev got a title shot at 185. And then, now, and it's no secret why Pereira got this rematch, because they want Ankalaev to lose. They want Pereira to be the champion, because Pereira is the biggest star in the UFC right now.
He is.
I think I kind of agree with you, Joey. I don't particularly think that this fight's going to be too different from the first fight. I mean, obviously Pereira showed really good takedown defense in the last fight, but he was so worried about the takedown he wouldn't let his hands go. I think he only had 11 significant strikes to the head or something like that in a 5-round fight. That's nothing. Granted, Pereira's a guy that only needs one, but I think he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to let his hands go, because if he does the same thing he did last time, he's just going to get pushed against the cage to a decision. So he needs to let his hands go, and he needs to really try and knock him out. I think that's the only way he wins this fight. At the same time, he's been filming a movie or something. he's like in a movie or something like that. Like, so I'm like worried, like how focused is he on training? He's also been doing like weird videos with like Nina Drama where he's like smelling her feet and shit. And I'm like, it's just like, how like not focused are you right now? Like, I can't fucking stand that shit, dude. Oh man, I can't fucking stand it.
Oh my god.
You should be hitting the heavy bag and you're sniffing a married woman's feet. You fucking.
I didn't even know she was married, bro. Somebody talking about
her husband. Her husband is her cameraman. Talk about cuck.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, there we go.
No, I'm sorry. It's
dude's clip farming, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you can't. People call Ian Gary a cuck.
Yeah,
fucking
no,
call that guy a cuck.
Yeah, that dude's a cuck. You have to
No,
watch.
no, it's cool. You can sniff my wife's feet. It's
Yeah,
fine.
you have to watch fucking Aspinall ask your girlfriend if she's
Yeah.
getting
I've never
fingered.
been fingered by an MMA fighter.
Yeah, like what the fuck
would
are
it
you
take?
gonna do? Be like, yo, Tom, can you just not do that?
Yeah, Tom,
It's like you're not
Tom,
gonna tell Tom to do that, dude.
Tom, what would it take, Aspinall? or the clip where Nina goes, "Hey, John, John Jones, can you tell people that I didn't sleep with you to get this interview?" And he goes, "I'm not gonna lie." And the cameraman, the husband's just like, "You go, girl. You go, honey." She also like she also used to be like on Playboy, I think. So she's just like, this guy's totally fucking just lost. Brother's lost in the sauce.
Bro, somebody needs to get that guy some help. Yeah. Somebody needs to get that guy some help.
He needs to read How to Be a Wag.
Yeah, true. I mean, I have.
Yeah, and
we all know that I have. MERAB versus Corey, guys. How do you feel about this fight? I personally think this is horrible timing for one Corey Sandhagen, who I view as one of my favorite fighters, exciting striker, but he's facing MERAB. Seems.
Why
like
do you think that's horrible
unstoppable
timing?
Well, just because I feel like, man, I would have rather seen Corey versus Sean, man. Corey gets his first title shot, and it's against fucking MERAB, dude. It's just what the fuck?
I mean, I don't see anybody beating MERAB anytime soon.
Me neither.
Corey, this is Corey's like maybe best chance at title shot. Like,
I mean, yeah, I think it's the worst first chance he could have gotten.
But Corey actually does have really solid ground game. I think that's something people overlook about Corey because he's such a good striker. Is he going to be able to do anything against MERAB? Doubtful, but maybe.
Yeah, I honestly don't. I love Corey Sandhagen as well. He's out here in Denver, so I used to see him a lot in some of the shows that he used to fight on before getting into the UFC. I think he's a great dude. I think he's funny as hell. I think he's a great fighter. I just don't see this being any different than how MERAB handled Sean, how MERAB handled pretty much everyone else in the division. I fucking love the dude. I think MERAB is one of the funniest motherfuckers on this whole entire planet.
Jacuzzi.
And, he is just too much. And dude, the same interview that he was talking about, where he felt Ilia would beat Islam, he was also saying that he wanted to fight until 50. Dude wants to be the Tom Brady of the UFC, and I can see him fucking lasting until 50.
I think he can do it. I think he could do it.
Not as champ.
Not as champ.
Maybe not
but
as
I
champ.
think he could. I think he could be he could probably in the future become one of the oldest UFC champions of all time, though.
Could you imagine if when he retires, he just has like 45 wins and like 35 losses?
Dude,
I
don't know if he holds on to the title. I think somebody's going to come around and beat him, but I think
eventually
pick up the title again. I think he's going to pick up the title again after that. I can see MERAB honestly being a champion into being like 44, 45 years old just because of his style of fighting.
So who do you think, assuming MERAB beats Sandhagen, who do you think fights MERAB next?
That's an interesting question. I mean,
do we care to see an Umar rematch if Umar beats Mario Batista?
Yeah, I think
if Bautista wins, right? if Bautista wins, you do Bautista versus MERAB.
Yeah, I think that's probably the title contention fight is Batista and Umar.
Yeah,
and then whoever wins gets the title fight. Yeah. I don't see anybody else it making sense for anybody else to challenge for the belt. I mean, there's some guys coming up that, but I don't think any that deserve like a title shot right now.
Just not big enough names.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of weird when you have people who aren't so popular fighting for titles, just from a business perspective. Like even Joshua Van, fucking great fighter, fun fighter to watch, but the star power is different. You know what I mean? Between him and Pantoja. So the fact that like even Pantoja is now having to go against the next cream of the crop, I think we're going to see that in bantamweight next with MERAB. Because if you look at who's coming up, I think he's beat all these guys for the most part, right? Like he's already fought Song Yadong, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you have Davidson Figueroa in this division. We'll see. Marlon Vera, no. Rob Font. I mean, I would love it just being a New Englander, seeing a New Englander fight for a title, but he still has a ways to go.
I have one word to say to you.
What?
Chewies!
Dude, Chewy. Yeah, dude, he's so fucking funny.
He's demolishing MERAB, let's be real.
You think?
No! I was worried about him fighting Rob Font, but that fell through, so.
Oh yeah, that did fall through recently.
Yeah, it did fall through. That is unfortunate. I was actually really looking forward to seeing him come back because it's been a while. I don't think he's fought in a while.
Raul Rosas Jr. by Chiwiwis. Round 3 Chiwiwis.
Did you see the clip where he made some like OnlyFans girl like storm off set in a podcast or something like that?
Bro, that shit was so funny.
He fucking asked like, did Drake go inside you or something like that?
Just like stupid shit. Like
the dude is literally
did
like
Drake
19,
give you his
Chewies? Like he's actually a kid. Like he's straight up a fucking kid.
He is a kid.
Dude.
20 minutes later.
All right, that'll wrap things up for our first episode of the Scraphouse, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Honestly, thank you. This has been a long time coming. We've been trying to put this together for some time now. Finally got it done. So I want to say thanks, Aiden. Thanks, Joey. Thanks for the help with this. Of course, not that it's my show, but I think we created something really cool here. So please, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell icon to get the notifications of when we drop videos, because we got a lot of content coming. Of course, White Belt Takes, Mr. Aiden here, comes up with some really cool content on his pages, as well as Joey. So follow us on the platforms at The Scrap News and check out our articles at thescrap.co, and we'll catch you all in the next one.